Hey, welcome to Sales 101. In the new year 2023, we've reformatted the show, added graphics, a countdown, and all sorts of segments to hopefully provide you the best sales knowledge possible so that you can make the most of your sales experience and close sales as easy as possible. Think of new ways to sell products make things as easy as possible in the new year. I'm your host, Matt Zimmer. I'm a serial entrepreneur and have really made a transition from what I call from atoms to electrons. I've gone from the physical world to the digital world and have learned a lot in that time, and I'm looking to provide knowledge, insight, really anything that I can to make the sales process easier. If you've got any questions, you can feel free to type in the chat. We're live streaming on several platforms, but rest assured, wherever you put comments, we will see them. And if you don't provide comments, I'm just going to keep talking anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But would love to get any insights or questions or avenues that you'd like to cover. So please feel free to type in at any time. Got an interesting show today. Hopefully have a guest, although that guest isn't in the lobby yet, but if not, we'll take a look at what he's got anyways, and maybe be more critical than if he was going to be here. And also going to review a couple of sales tips on processes that I think will make it a little bit easier to get your mind clear on how to really approach the customer and be effective. So that's about it. We're going to get going here, and like I said, if you've got any questions, comments, please leave them for me, and we will go from there. So like I mentioned, we're going to start with just a couple of basic sales knowledge things. I think, these are going to be kind of a recurring segment on this show. We're really digging into the base sales premises and how to give you a couple skills that can make you more effective. My style of sales is really one-to-one. I like being able to physically talk to a customer. I like being able to physically be present for kind of that that experience. I'm not a big proponent of kind of mass marketing campaigns, things like that. I like one-to-one. So that's where a lot of this comes from. If you find yourself in a situation where you're trying to go one-to-many, that to me is really more of a marketing process, and we'll talk about that here as well. But where I'm going to really focus is on kind of that core one-to-one. Once you kind of crack the egg and having the ability to talk to the customer, and so that's where we're going to start. And I'm trying to get myself centered here because we're working on a new layout in the new year. So that's what's going on. As most people know, I don't really know what the heck I'm doing here. So this is a journey and an exploration together. And so let's talk about the top 3 value attributes to consider when you're selling. So these are the top 3 things that you need to have in the back of your mind when you are talking to a potential customer. And I've listed these in no particular order, although they're sort of ordered. And I guess the next slide, you'll kind of understand why they're ordered the way they are. But maybe there's a light ordering, but in reality, these are all, in some respect, equally important. Although the way you address them is kind of different. So those three attributes are price, time, and quality. And when we bundle those together, we get what we call value. So value, and the way the customer measures value is really it's a package of price, time, and quality. And if you're doing a service or a product, we can measure all of those things. So when it comes to a service, time is one of those things where you can be like, okay, well, speed to delivery, right? Or how soon is the customer going to get it? When you think about a physical product, time might be how much time does a customer need to put into learning the product? How easy is it to use? How much time is required for setup? So that could be quality, that could be time, but you kind of get the line there of these are attributes that are relevant to both physical products as well as services. So price, time, and quality is the bundle that we use to measure value. Value is what customers are looking for. Customers are not looking for the lowest price. Customers are not looking for the highest quality. They are looking for the best value. Now, different customers may assess these traits differently, and therefore your product may work for one customer and not work for another. But customers are looking for value. So a customer may tell you they're looking for the cheapest possible thing. Well, if the cheapest possible thing has a quality so low that it doesn't meet their needs, they aren't looking for the cheapest possible thing. They're looking for the cheapest possible thing that has a quality that they find, relevant, or at least, something that matches what they need. So that's why we talk about value rather than these actual three traits, because value is a true measure for what customers care about, not an untrue measure. Now, like I said before, customers, if you're talking directly to a customer, a lot of times they won't be conscious of the fact that they want value. They'll be thinking that what they want is lowest price or quickest to market or, best possible quality. They won't really do the proper assessment. So as a salesperson, our job is to really do the assessment and then kind of present the solution in a way that, the customer is receptive to. Okay, so that's kind of what we're doing here is we want to get salespeople conscious of these three skills or these three attributes, and then provide the set of skills that gives salespeople the ability to actually sell to these three attributes. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how to do that, right? So now you know that these are the three things you need to consider. Well, how the heck do you actually, go about assessing and pitching to somebody what they actually need? So here are the steps to take. One, what we want to do is we want to establish our baseline. All right, so what is establish a baseline? So again, we have three attributes. Think about those three attributes being like, having sliders. Okay, so you've got one end of a slider is going to be the low, the other end of the slider is going to be high, and we've got three of those with sliders. And what we want to do is we want to assess what is the baseline of what our customer considers really just the midpoint. Okay, so when it comes to price, what is kind of just that innately expected price that they expect to pay? Okay, when it comes to timeline, what is that like? What do they just expect? And same thing with quality. I'd kind of argue here that maybe quality is probably the hardest, because price and time can kind of be, given to you in like an integer and like a single value. Quality's got a lot of things that go into it. Some of the times quality could be a single number, but it often can't. So quality is kind of the most difficult, which is why kind of these steps are the way they are. But that's what we want to do. We want to establish our baseline. So we want to ask questions, talk around, consider, kind of make sure we really understand kind of what does this person expect. Okay, from there, so once we've established our baseline, all right, what is the midpoint of these sliders? So like what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out what is the midpoint of those sliders. Okay, so that doesn't mean we don't want to establish our highs and lows before we go in. We kind of want to be open-minded, and we're trying to establish the midpoint of each one of those sliders. And what that does is if we determine the midpoint, we can move the sliders up and down based on the next questions that we have. So we establish that baseline. The next thing we do is we want to determine our price sensitivity. So what that means is we want to determine how sensitive, how big of an impact a small, medium, large change is going to have on how a customer reacts to price. Some customers, $1 increase is no big deal. Some customer, $1 increase is a big deal. Same thing with $1,000, $100,000. Different customers have different price sensitivities. So we want to understand, if price moves, are they going to be open? Now, obviously, if price moves, like other things need to move too. So that's where we're going to end up getting to. But we want to determine how sensitive they are to price. If price moves, are they open to considering a price increase? Are they open to considering a price increase so long as the other two sliders move accordingly? Then we're going to do the same thing with time. So we want to determine the baseline for all three parameters, and then we want to determine time sensitivity. So, in the case of a service, time sensitivity may be speed to delivery. All right, is it going to take 1, 2, 3 months to deliver this thing? If we slip a month, or if you quote unquote require delivery in 3 months, and we come back and be like, look, we can't do it in 3 months, we can do it in 4 months, like, is that going to kick us out of the job? So we want to determine that time sensitivity. All right, so we're establishing our baseline for the three parameters. We're determining price sensitivity, and then we determine time sensitivity. Now, what you'll notice is my fourth point here is not determine quality sensitivity. All right, the reason why is quality is subjective, and there's so many parameters that go into quality. There's never going to be establishing a true baseline and making sure everything's bundled in there. It could take forever. So the reason we focus on time, price, and time is what we want to do is we want to deliver the customer the best possible product for the amount of money and the time, the associated time. We want to give them the best possible thing that works for the business model. Now, your business model may, two companies may have two different business models that allows one company to deliver a significantly better product than another, and that's just the reality of the world. So the reality is we don't really care. We don't care from a sales perspective about quality. The customer cares about quality, and they want to know that they're going to get the best possible thing. And what we tell them is we will deliver you the best possible thing. And if we do that, everything will come out just fine. Or at least it may not come out just fine, but we work to close. We work to getting the customer over the hump that now that we know what the baseline is and their price and time sensitivity, now we can adjust these two things based on everything else we're hearing, and we work to close. And I think we'll probably spend some time in the next few sessions talking about what does working to close mean? How do you work to close? What does that process actually look like? And that's a kind of really interesting process because it's unique for every single customer, but we can apply a common framework in how to doing it. But that'll take us to kind of the close of this session, and hopefully that gets you to the point where you're feeling confident about what actually you need to do and what you need to focus on. So like I said, once again, we know that we have, let's jump back here. We know that we have 3 attributes that we need to consider when we're selling: price, time, and quality. What we want to do is we want to establish the baseline with the customer for each one of those 3. And then we want to determine the sensitivities for price and time without considering quality, assuming that quality will always be the best possible quality for what we can deliver, considering time and price. And then we want to work to close. That means we want to work to getting the customer to sign on, to handing over that first check, to buying the product, to getting it in their hands. What do we got to do to make that happen? And that's it. And we move on. So like I said, we will talk about working to close in future lessons, but hopefully that gives you a pretty basic framework of what you need to be doing to properly sell to your customer. Cool. All right, let's pop to full screen. And let's do this. All right. So, as I mentioned, we were supposed to have a guest today, and he is not here. So that means we're going to put him on the wall of shame. You can't schedule a meeting and not show up. The wall of shame is in quotes, but what that means is that we're actually going to pop in and take a look at what they've got and be a little bit nitpicky. And hopefully there'll be some good advice and good evidence and good information here that other people may pick up on, at least how I analyze a customer's presentation of themselves. So starting off the new year with a missing guest. Hopefully this is the first of one for the year. I have a feeling it won't be, but that's cool. So let me pop this up. All right, so our guest today is Palash Barnia. And Palash is a founder, consultant in the tech industry, just another creator on LinkedIn. And he currently is a consultant at Sustango. So that's actually who we're gonna check out. And is also a full-time founder at a company called Stealth, and spent 10 years at another venture that he did not found, but basically was a consulting company that also provided capital, it looked like. So that's who we're going to be, that's who is our guest on today's episode. He's not here in person, but he is here digitally. So we're going to take a look at what Palash has to offer. So right out of the gate, my jumping on Palash's page is that he is clearly a tech consultant. He's got hashtag mental health here, so I think probably has a kind of newer tech standpoint, and probably would have been a great person to talk to, and has a clear view of kind of what's going on. But yeah, definitely in the tech space, focused on mental health. Definitely is in consulting, I would say, as a profession, at least currently, and focused on entrepreneurial business development, so 10 plus years. So I think this guy, I think Palash is probably similar to myself. Looks like he's got similar types of current interests. I think we've got different backgrounds. I come a lot more from the entrepreneurial founder standpoint. It looks like he is much more from the consulting standpoint. It looks like I've got a few years on him as well, but my gut tells me we come from a similar background. Yeah. So what I'd like to do is take a look at Sustango, since that is the company that Palash represents, and we'll take a look at what we see when we jump on their page and really analyze it from a sales perspective. Like I said before, as I jump into this, if you see something, please feel free to send me a message, and happy to provide commentary on anything that we're taking a look at here, if something pops out to you. So we will jump in and take a look at Palash's page. Company business is called Sustango, and what I'm seeing here is we build tomorrow's products today, we build tomorrow's digital solutions today. Your technology partner. So clearly got a VR helmet here. So clearly this is a technology consultancy. They're building, they're here to build product, right? They're here to build product for other people that other people will then sell to the end customer. So that's what I get from their first page. Let's keep scrolling down here. So trusted by the best: Deloitte, Disney, Research Now, Grindr, Target, MGM Grand. So they've got a bunch of brands. I'm impressed. I'm also skeptical. I think Deloitte is a consulting company, so a consulting company hiring a consulting company is a little confusing. Could be wrong there. I don't really actually know what Deloitte is. I think it's a consulting company. So that's a little suspect. I just kind of doubt that, this company would be contacting me if these were the partners it had worked with. But, may have done some amount of work, but I'd probably want to research and dig into those before I kind of took their word for it. Our client. So client testimonials, cool. I don't really care personally about client testimonials. I usually skip over this stuff. Same thing. All right, there's a lot of copy going on here. Industries. These aren't. EdTech isn't going to link me anywhere. They do have an industries page, so maybe they. Sorry, that was me highlighting what we do, and that is heavy. So we'll take a look at that shortly here. But this is a little suspicious that these couple of sectors. Let's see. The only sector, it looks like fintech is the only one that actually has a link. One stop for all things tech, what we do. Cool. Let me show you what I would actually do for getting a little more insight. Well, let's share this tab. So we're going to go to CMS, and we're going to take a look at if this thing loads. Oh, that's interesting. What's CMS.org? Sorry about that. All right. So we're detected. My gut tells me it's probably WordPress. it is not. All right, so CDN.js. All right, so what this says is what platform that their site is using. So, they're using something maybe custom. So maybe that means they're more technically proud, more technical proficiency than I had assumed. So that's cool. I shouldn't assume anything. Now, if we go to, another thing I like to do is take a look at the Google PageSpeed score, PageSpeed Insights, because it'll give us kind of a quick technical analysis on how quote unquote good they are at developing. A lot of people use this. A lot of people are using this to really analyze, technical proficiency, because Google is using this as a way to augment PageRank. So depending on how they score on this, if they're really focused on technical proficiency, this is what I would think that this site would be quite good. If they aren't, it might not. That isn't perfect. There's reasons for spending time on this and reasons for not. So I don't want to shame somebody too much if they don't do great on this, but you can see that they failed at Core Web Vitals. If you don't know what Core Web Vitals are, I would recommend you kind of Google that. You got to Google what Google uses to do PageRank, and that'll give you some explanation. But they failed that. Performance is in the red, so you can see that there's a rank here. So you obviously want to be in the green. If you're in the green, Google will rate you higher. But yeah, so this is for the mobile. If we look at desktop, it's probably better. It's got no idea what performance is. So, didn't collect any screenshots. Make sure that is interesting. I would really like to run this thing again, and let's see what happens. That's weird. I've never seen that happen before, but maybe they got some weird scripts or something going on their page. Who knows? Let's find out. It's doing its thing. So these are the two sites that I use. If you there we go. All right. So something funky happened last time. They're an 86 on desktop. So actually, it's pretty good. Some things that they could do to improve, but I would say from a technical standpoint, this is pretty terrible on mobile. But honestly, a lot of mobile sites are pretty terrible. They're a software company that's, I would say, it looks like they're focused on web tech. So, we'll give them a pass. So let's jump back to their site, head to the About Us. We've got a little bit about the story. I don't know. I don't personally care that much about this. Again, there's EdTech. There's these types of sectors and whatnot. I do not. Let's see if we see Palash. We do not see Palash as one of the charismatic leaders. So I'd love to speak to one of the charismatic leaders at this company. So Sistango, if you find yourself watching this video for some reason, please reach out to talk to me. There is plenty we could talk about, and love to get your get your perspective on sales, what you're trying to do with the site, how you capture people. That's what I'm kind of going through here. Would love to hear about that stuff. So, we can see with our UK, US, India. So I think this is interesting because, man, that is a broad spectrum. I'd be interested in how many staff they have in each. I have no idea how big this company is. I think Palash has said there were like 200 and something members at this company. So Sistango, how many members do you got? 353. So they got 353 people on LinkedIn. So that's not tiny. They could have a 3-office, thing. Who knows? Let's focus on, so let's go to what we do. All All right, so this is, I think this to me is the hard part about a consultancy. I think the hard part about a consultancy is like just the amount of things you need to do to like, have a chance to get somebody to talk to you. So, Palash, this is what I would love to understand. I often describe this as like the, mile wide, inch deep scenario, or, an expert in everything is an expert in nothing. I'd love to understand your perspective on this, because I think there are other perspectives on, really having a broad base of knowledge versus being a, very tight expert. And it feels like to me what the world is looking for right now is very tight experts, very, narrow focused, rather than this broad focused. And this to me actually feels like a very difficult thing to sell. I've done, this type of sales. And I think when I'm talking to customers, when I'm not very narrowly focused, I think it really loses, that like trust. How can I be so knowledgeable in all these topics versus being, highly specifically knowledgeable? So I'd really like to understand that. There are a lot of things going on here. Web3, data engineering, DevOps, digital marketing, like these are very different things. I get it that they're all needed. They're all needed in a digital product. To me, what you guys are maybe doing is product development. And that would be the one thing that I would put underneath this, or bundle everything into, is product development. And, all of these things could be seen as a piece of product development, but that is a lot. All right, we've got a message from Kanchan. Hi, Kanchan. If you have any questions, if you'd like me to, talk about anything specifically, if you've got specific questions about this site, got any feedback for Sistango or Palash, please feel free to post a comment, and we will get to it. There we go. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Glad you are on the show. We're obviously kicking this off early. A lot of people still aren't back from work, so this is a dry run without a whole lot of audience. We'll get better next time, and yeah, Happy New Year to you too. All right, let's keep going here. What else do we got? That's the about us. Say hi to our team. I'm assuming that, this is gonna be video. All right, I love videos. We're gonna blow this thing up. Give me 1 second. I gotta let's turn the music down here. Let's pop into this video. Take a look at it. Let's do it. Here we go. This is Sistango. It's fun. Of course, I gotta let it load. Man, you can have all the internet in the world, but you get into loading problems, it breaks down. All right, let's try that again.
It's fun. It's challenging. It's positive. It's comfortable. It's friendly. It's engaging. It's rewarding. It's supportive. It's motivating. It's flexible.
We believe in nurturing people, which enables them to enhance their skill set to achieve their goals sooner and provide work-life balance to enhance mindfulness.
Do things differently, which allows you to think, and your mind might be able to do something bigger for Sistango and yourself.
Okay, I love this. Is like my favorite. I'm sorry, I'm chiming in here. This is my favorite thing ever, because like there's this globe, which like who has a globe? Who has a globe on their desk? And it's focused on the United States. Like this to me is marketing. Like I read this as marketing. I actually read this whole video as marketing. This is pretty interesting. Let's keep going here. But you know, that to me just screams, you know, marketing. Oof, like look at how little that laptop is. Guys, let's get a screen.
This time has a great work culture. You get a lot of opportunities to learn and grow. I myself have grown more than 5 times in the last 5 years.
Okay, I don't know what I've grown more than 5 times in the last 5 years. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe he's gotten 5 raises? Could be.
The office is colorful and vibrant. It keeps you energetic and gives you positive
vibes. Getting some internet loading. All right, cool. Let's just jump back here a second. We can point out something that's a little jumped out to my eyes. This book called Made in Japan, like in this random library that's like got one shelf of books. It's kind of weird.
The kind of transparency we have here at Sistano, I feel more seen and heard.
All right, I think that's gonna. There's the building. All right, love a video. You know, it's interesting. So my kind of take is this is an all Indian company that is representing itself as having offices in the US and UK. This makes it hard for me to trust this company. Like if they had these offices and these offices were important, I think they should be shown in that video. They got 230 something people. So like, I kind of think they may be telling the truth that they have these things. Sorry, I'm like off center here. You know, like I feel like it's my nature to be kind of skeptical. But you know, I don't know. It just there's no footage of anybody. It's an all like there was seemingly one location. There's obviously no presence of UK and the US market in there. So I really have worked with Indian companies quite a bit and have enjoyed working with Indian companies. I think, you know, if the video presented it more as a, you know, an Indian company that had maybe sales presence or was working to get into these two markets or could provide cost-effective solutions to these two markets, or, you know, even if it didn't care about these two markets, if it just was saying who it was, that to me would be a little more authentic. I felt like the video was a little kind of a little pitchy, trying to, you know, get me to feel that they're a global organization. So didn't love the video, guys. I think you could do some work to be a little more authentic and tell your authentic story about who you are and why you're great. And I think that should be good enough. I don't think you need to, you know, represent yourself as like being like, everybody else. So yeah, I think we could do some work on improving that. What else we got? What do we do? So none of these are like, one of these is clickable. Is this clickable? What's clickable? Front end, Android. Remember on that front page of these products? What is this? Services. I'm gonna go back to the front page because there was like a clickable link someplace here. Oh man, they got a little loading animation. All right, where was that? Like what we do. Okay, wait. So is this a service? This is an industry. Okay, industries, fintech. I can get they got a case study. What does this case study look like? Is there a video here? I would love it if there was a case study video. Does anybody read these things? Like, does anybody, like, how much content do people read? I feel like textual stuff is built for SEO now, and like nobody's actually reading. I don't know. Whatever. There's a case study. Let's go back here. What do we got here? This is again. This is back on industries. I didn't see where industries is though. Let's go to the base page of industries. It's gonna break. No. Whoa. Like, I don't understand. They've got The Verge and Kickstarter. Did they make this? I'm in industries, all technologies. Are these blog? This is portfolio. So when I went to industries, it forwarded me to portfolio. So can I, industries, e-commerce. And then what? It's going to show me the case study. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so they've got a lot of quote unquote case studies. Yeah, I guess it's cool. Like, you found a case that matched your needs. Maybe you got something. Let's say what am I looking for? Let's say I'm doing I don't know any of these things. Like, let's say I'm really into IoT. What do they got? Ooh, DrinkMate. Compact can be an objective of DreamMate, our solution. Okay, I mean, cool. This is all right, I guess. I don't know. Love to know if anybody finds this beneficial when it comes to really knowing and understanding the company. I'd love to know their pricing. I think this is one of the things that annoys me about agencies is you never get pricing. Our work, this is going to be portfolio, right? So that just kicks me out to portfolio. All right. Let's check out the blog. Same thing. Yeah, so when we think about the difference between sales and marketing, this to me, all this content stuff is all marketing. This is how you bring people in. And then most of the stuff that I speak about is kind of after. Once you've got the ability to talk directly to somebody, that really starts the sales process. The marketing process is kind of the stuff before that. So that's why, digital marketing is doing the work before a salesperson gets involved. Salespeople can reach out and do some of that work, but that's the difference in my mind between sales and marketing. Marketing doesn't really ever talk to the people, sales does. All right. What else we got on here? Systango. Am I doing business with Systango based on this website? That's a tough one. Am I doing like what would be my next step? I'd have to contact them, I'd talk to them. I can't find their pricing anywhere. There's some careers. Are they hiring? Maybe I should try to get a job. Sustango Eves. Sustango Eve. A Sustango Eve allows employees to collaborate and learn and work. Whoa. What's an Eve? An Evie? Sustango Eves. I'm assuming that's like happy hours. I mean, so it's enjoying delicious food. So they're either doing Uber Eats or they're either doing Uber Eats or they're all in the office together. On-site events. Outings. Show and tell. We are passionate. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this frustrates me because I can see case studies, but like Fred Zealot. Like, all right, is there a link to this? Fret Zealot. Not Fred Zealot. Fret Zealot. Okay, it sounds like an app. Like, they had like websites listed that I don't have nothing to do with this thing, but Fret Zealot. The best way to learn guitar. Did they build this? Did they build like what? Tell me what you guys did. Maybe they do tell me what they did. There's a video on Fret Zealot. Should we watch that? Let's go back. Come on, dude. One more. Okay, so learning guitar. Fret Zealot is the most undemanding way to master guitar with the use of LEDs and smart technology. EdgeTech Labs approached Sustango to develop EdgeTech Labs. So let's find out what EdgeTech, because it seems like the customer is EdgeTech Labs. Approached Sustango to develop an iOS and Android companion app for Fret Zealot. It's a Fred Zealot. I just can't. It's like a guy's name. It would connect to the fretboard wirelessly via Bluetooth from initial concepts to understanding the gritty. Our final product. Team Sustango was always on point with the approach. Our experts, prototyping, scheduling. I mean, this is product development, right? So they did product development. Let's find out what this company is. EdgeTech Labs. EdgeTech Labs. Okay. So I think we found out what happened here. EdgeTech Labs EdgeTech Labs was probably hired by Fret Zealot, and they outsourced the work to Sustango, which honestly, like in my experience, that's how this stuff works. So I bet you EdgeTech Labs is probably like this is just, I'm on like a Kickstarter campaign. So EdgeTech Labs, let's find out what EdgeTech Labs is. Let's play this thing. Let's find out.
Hi, I'm Sean Savage, CEO of EdgeTech Labs. As you can see, EdgeTech Labs isn't your usual one-track company. We're a full-stack product powerhouse bringing state-of-the-art technology in niche market gaps. We bring our products to market using a distinct and tested strategy. First, we define the global market with crowdfunding. We expand distribution through regional connections, many of which were found during the crowdfunding campaign. Finally, we ramp up sales using targeted marketing based on feedback from our thousands of initial customers. So what brands do we currently have in the market? I'll pass it off to John to talk about them.
Hi, I'm John Tolley, CTO of EdgeTech Labs. Our first product, DrinkMate, was launched in 2014. It's a miniature smartphone breathalyzer, the smallest in the world and powered by your phone. We're now expanding the DrinkMate brand to include Happy Hour Hunter, a feature which shows you active food and drink deals immediately around you. Next,
What?
is
Why would I want
Fred
that with a
Zeller, an
breathalyzer?
LED accessory for your guitar that shows you exactly how to play, well, everything. You get the guitar of your dreams. Stick a Fred Zeller on it, and you're all set. Bluetooth
He
links
says
to your
Fred-
phone where you
Fred
can
Zeller
control
too.
notes, chords, songs, scales, etc. Anything can be displayed in any color. Last but not least, we have FineTracks. This is a wireless sensor network for vineyards and grape farms. The hardware is subscription-based with no upfront installation costs. Fields can have as many sensor nodes as desired, and the data is streamed into a convenient dashboard where owners can make real-time and meaningful decisions about their crops.
At EdgeTech Labs, we're bringing never-before-seen innovation to markets that desperately need an overhaul. We leverage common technologies across each of our brands, which gives us a lean operating model and a hefty competitive advantage. Thanks for taking the time to learn more about EdgeTech Lab.
This was interesting because two of the products that Sustango had worked on were products that company had worked on. So my gut tells me EdgeTech Labs is kind of like a product marketing company. They probably do my gut tells me like that tech that they were showing doesn't work yet, or at least didn't work when they filmed that video. And then they're basically then hiring cheaper companies to kind of build the thing. So those guys those guys kind of do the initial sale and then formulate the teams to kind of build these things. And Sustango got in the door on one product, then built out another, and so they build products, but Fret Zealot isn't their customer. Whatever the name of that, what's this company? Whatever the heck the company that I just went to. EdgeTech Labs is the customer. So, all right. So my analysis after reading all of this is I think Sustango competes on price. And they one of the reasons they're being used is, it's not to say they are bad quality, but when it comes to a sales standpoint, there's not a whole lot of pitching. It's price, capability. That's what we see a lot from these types of companies. And, and I think what's being represented here is not, it's a version of reality. It's just not true. Fret Zealot was never one of their customers. This other product development company was actually the customer, and they didn't really do any sales work. They didn't do any interaction with the customer. They built what they were told to build. So they're probably great at building products, but if you used this company, you would need to be very specific about what they would build, and they'd essentially only build, what you told them. So that's kind of my breakdown of a customer, or I'm sorry, of a company, and how you can analyze and determine whether or not you should be buying from them. I think what's interesting maybe about going through that process is that's kind of how I think if you can look at a company and break a company down like that, you kind of know what to avoid, know how to present yourself, know how to speak. And that doesn't necessarily mean if I was this company, if I was Sustango, would I say that Fret Zealot was my customer? I might. Does it really matter? You built the product, right? I'm sure that's what they think is the most important thing. And they're not necessarily wrong, but I think you'd maybe want to be conscious that the language when you mention, was there any reason to mention EdgeTech Labs? It could just be Sustango, built and developed in iOS and Android for Fret Zealot. That we could you don't even need to mention EdgeTech Labs. It just confuses the message. It makes me feel like you're not being authentic. You're not really telling me what you did. So I think just being conscious of that can be hopeful. Let's just take a look at a couple last things here. Request for service. This is in my opinion, the worst possible way to handle checkout on a services-based page. Like, throw a Calendly in there, get people to book an appointment. Like, do you care? Is this important? Like, isn't somebody just coming in and picking whatever just to get through it? Really think about whether this is working for you or not. I know I've done a lot of work on thinking about what does the checkout process look like for, how do you take an e-commerce approach to kind of other types of companies, and I think you can do a lot with that. Let's take a look at their products, just kind of the last thing. So these are what they're saying are their products. Looks like there was an LMS that I'm assuming they use for internal. What was this one? This is Swatter learning management software. Sign up for free. So they built some sort of LMS, but there are no product photos or anything. So I'm not sign up for free. I mean, I don't know what that is. And let's go to the last one. What are their products? Oh man, what we do, our products. Shoota. Okay, Shoota is it's its own site. Grow your business wealth. What is this thing? Investment opportunities. Make investments a single click. So this is a platform for invest your business's idle cash. I got no idea. I don't know. This is a totally different product. This is a little confusing. Well, that's just adding to my confusion. I got no idea what this company does. Palash, I want to thank you for signing up. I would have appreciated if you would have joined, but I understand things come up, and we won't hold it to you. Hopefully you found that interesting. Hopefully you can take some things back to Sustango to implement. I think you've got a good business, maybe not a great business, but you can make a lot happen in a short period of time. So I encourage you to take some of that analysis and implement it. If you'd like to message me, you can always find me on LinkedIn at Zimpreneur, and we can go from there. So I think that's going to end the Sales Power Hour for today. We'll be back tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Pacific. If you have any questions, like I said, you can message me on LinkedIn. My handle is Zimpreneur, Zimpreneur. If you are looking for any sort of link, any sort of information about me, the show, if you want to be involved, if you'd like to be a guest, you can go to Zimmers, ZIMMERZ.com. All of our social links are there. Links to schedule time to hang out and talk about your business, talk about sales, really get into it. And so that's going to be our Monday edition. Happy New Year. Wish you the best and take care. Bye.